You'll never be part of this family. Mommy, I'm trying so hard, please get better, whispered Lily, clutching my photo in her small hands. Lily, what are you talking about? Mommy is fine, I said, kneeling beside her. Her body shook, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. They said if I eat, you'll die, she sobbed. I froze. Who said that? Grandma, Aunt Nora, Lily whispered, looking down. Emily, leave it to us, focus on your work, we'll take care of Lily, Grandma Margaret said over the phone a week ago. You're so lucky to have us, Aunt Nora added, smiling. At the time I felt relief. My design project deadline was crushing and Mark was away for business. I didn't know then what had been planted in Lily's mind. Lily, dinner's ready, I called, putting mac and cheese on the table. I'm not hungry, she murmured, not touching a single bite. I tried pancakes for breakfast, eat a little, Lily. She shook her head again. Lily, I whispered, sitting beside her, tell me why. She looked at me, tears streaking her face. Grandma said you're sick, if I eat you might die, so I'm trying hard for Mommy. That's a lie, Mommy is healthy, I said, eating won't hurt me, not eating makes me sad. She paused, hesitating, then clung to me. Later that day I called the police. Your daughter has been psychologically abused, we'll investigate immediately, Detective Davis said. Can I speak to her directly? She asked gently. Lily recounted every word. Grandma said you might die, Aunt Nora said the same, I had to keep it a secret. I clenched my fists. It wasn't just Grandma Margaret, Aunt Nora was complicit. They had manipulated a 4-year-old to try to harm me. The next day Margaret and Nora were questioned at the station. We never said that, she's confused, Margaret said calmly. Jessica shook, nearly trembling, out of control, it's just a misunderstanding. Detective Davis slid a search warrant across the table. We'll need to search your home. At Nora's room they found a notebook. Detective Davis read aloud, break Emily mentally, use her daughter, drive Emily to despair, ultimately she will be gone, we will take the girl, Lily will become ours. I felt a wave of nausea, then an icy calm. Nora collapsed sobbing, I just wanted to be a mother, I can't have children, I wanted Lily. Margaret's voice was cold, Emily is an outsider, Lily is the real family, nothing else matters. I didn't answer, my hands shook, my heart raced, but I stayed composed. Justice would act. Weeks later, the courtroom verdict. Nora Thompson, 10 years in prison for child abuse and psychological abuse. Margaret Thompson, 7 years for conspiracy. Mark held my hand tightly. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I left Lily with them too. I trusted them, I said quietly. Detective Davis called to check on us occasionally. How is Lily doing? She asked. She smiled shyly and waved at the phone. I said she's eating again and seems happier. We visited the police station once more to give statements about every word Lily remembered. We walked through the evidence room where they showed us the photos of the notebook and transcripts of phone calls. I felt a strange mix of relief and lingering anger. The prosecutors worked fast. We attended pretrial hearings. Mark stayed close beside me, and Lily held my hand during the car ride. She kept asking, will they be punished, Mommy? I said yes, they will be punished for what they did. Court days were tense. We arrived early each morning. Lily stayed with a family friend. While we went to the courthouse, the hallways were filled with people whispering, and we were led into a room full of sunlight streaming through tall windows. During the trial, Detective Davis presented the notebook and transcripts. The prosecutors spoke firmly about the plan to manipulate Lily, to cause me psychological harm, to isolate me, and eventually attempt to take my daughter away. Nora shook and wept on the stand. Margaret remained composed, her eyes cold and unreadable. Lily's absence in the courtroom was a relief. She was too young to understand the legal procedures and the emotional weight of the room. I focused on Mark holding my hand, and we whispered reassurance to each other. After several long days, the verdict was delivered. Nora, 10 years, Margaret, 7 years. We watched as they were handcuffed and led away. I felt a cold satisfaction seeing their powerless, trembling faces. I had stayed composed, but inside I felt vindicated. Returning home, the first weeks were cautious. We monitored Lily's reactions carefully. If she hesitated to eat, we would sit together at the table. I made her favorite meals: pancakes, chicken soup, roasted vegetables, and every bite was encouraged gently and never forced. Mark played with her on weekends. We built Lego towers and read picture books. She laughed easily again and sometimes ran to me in the kitchen just to hug me mid-cooking. One afternoon, we planted a small garden outside. Lily carefully watered the soil and asked how the seeds would grow. I explained patiently. She smiled as tiny sprouts began to show the first signs of green and said, "Mommy, look just like me." I nodded, "Yes, like you." Evenings became our special time. We would sit on the couch reading together. She pointed at pictures, asking questions, and Mark made funny voices for characters. She giggled and I laughed along, watching both of them and feeling the peace that had returned. Rainy days, we watched drops race down the window, drinking hot chocolate. Lily pressed her face against the glass and whispered, "Mommy, I'm happy." I hugged her and said, "Me too, sweet girl, we're safe now." Sometimes she asked about Grandma and Aunt Nora. I said, "Maybe they tried to love you in the wrong way, but real family never hurts each other." She nodded thoughtfully and said, "You're smart, Mommy." Her small smiles became more frequent. She ran freely in the park without hesitation, playing with imaginary friends and talking about school and friends she wanted to meet. She always looked back to see us walking hand in hand behind her. Mark and I took turns preparing meals and sometimes invited friends so Lily could interact and feel the warmth of other caring adults. She laughed when Mark pretended to be a dinosaur chasing her, and I watched smiling. Nights we tucked her in together. I whispered about stories of fairies, dragons, and brave girls. She whispered, "I will be brave like you," and I held her hand until her breathing evened out. We planted sunflowers outside and she watered them each morning, asking about the sun and rain and how plants grow. She said, "Mommy, one day I'll grow big and strong too." I smiled, "Yes, just like you." One afternoon she ran to me in the park, "Mommy, I'm hungry." I grabbed her hand, Mark on the other side, and we walked home together. I felt the shadows stretch long in the sunset, the warmth of the day settling in as I realized real family is built on love, respect, and protection. No matter what difficulties we face, our bond, formed through trust, care, and courage, will never break. Lily hugged me, whispering, "Mommy, I'm okay." We walked home hand in hand, our shadows merging in the evening light.